scrambled eggs. Oh, my baby, how I love your legs. Not as much as I love scrambled eggs. Oh, I could use some scrambled eggs. Sorry, like the episode title is Scrambled Eggs, and the only thing that comes into my head when I hear the words scrambled eggs is the placeholder lyrics for Yesterday that Paul McCartney wrote. Because the melody came to him in a dream, apparently, and then he just wrote some placeholder lyrics until he came up with what the actual song ended up with. And much as I love Yesterday, I have to actively make a conscious decision whenever I try to sing it not to go, scrambled eggs. Oh, my baby, how I love your legs. Because it flows so nicely. Yesterday is good. Like, don't get me wrong. Nice song. Well written. Good job, Lennon McCartney. But like, scrambled eggs, oh, my baby, how I love your legs. That's poetry, man. That's the pinnacle of art. Anyway, Hazbin Hotel. Yeah, okay, I swear to God, I'm going to try to get these under an hour. Because, fuck me. Sometimes the way my brain just goes off on this shit. And I do feel... Okay, so first of all, please don't post spoilers in the comments, or at least post teasers. Don't post directs, but don't tell me how anything actually shakes out. But go, oh, this thing you talked about, oh, you should wait a sec. Just, like, hype me up for future episodes. Don't tell me how everything turns out. I should specify that because I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to ask so many questions, and those questions are how I catalog my considerations of what the show... Hiccups. And those questions are how I catalog my considerations about what the show is about and the things I'm interested to see answered in the future. But I don't want people to answer the questions. They are rhetorical, essentially. I was saying something before that. I don't remember what that was. Anyway, Hazbin Hotel episode 3. I have many curiosities about how this show is going to handle its concepts of sin and forgiveness and, like, holiness and morality. Because what seems to have been pretty clearly established is that Charlie has a 5-year-old's conception of what morality is. Which is, like, that's also part of her character. That's why she's such a fucking Disney princess, right? It's like, she has this very, very childlike idea of what sin and redemption even is. And yet also, that's, I think, part of what the song at the end of the previous episode was meant to demonstrate, is that even though she doesn't have a great sort of theoretical concept of what sin and forgiveness is, she has a strong emotional concept of it, which is this thing of, like, people deserve a second fucking chance. Like, if someone is willing to apologize, take responsibility, and make amends, then surely that should mean they deserve the possibility of something better than what they've got, right? Which, in this instance, sort of manifests in her belief that people deserve to enter the kingdom of heaven if they're willing to, like, be forgiven from sin, even if she doesn't quite seem to know what sin is or why it's something people should be forgiven from, like why it's bad, for example. And that's interesting because that leaves her in an emotionally incredibly vulnerable place when it turns out that sin and morality is more complicated than she currently understands. And then there's Angel, who... I don't know if I need to put content warnings on this because I don't actually know what's going to happen, but certainly it seems like Angel is in an incredibly abusive relationship dynamic with someone who preys on all of his worst ideas about who he is and his worthiness of love and his worthiness of forgiveness for his flaws. And that could get really fucking dark. Again, wondering quite how dark the show is willing to go, because there are places where the show seems to censor itself a little bit. Like I talked about this in the first episode, that I was quite pleased to see, like, an actual... Like, it was a brief shot, but it was a shot of, like, 2 demons doing kinky BDSM fucking, right? Nothing pornographic, but, like, it was shown on screen that 2 demons were, like, doing doggy style with, like, a bunch of leather and, like, ball gacks and shit. But then we cut to the porn studios with Valentino, and it's like, yeah, some slightly spicy posters on the wall in the background there, but, like, no sort of visual reveling in perversion or, like, sexual activity. And that's something also about, like, the ways that American Puritanism manifest themselves in media is this thing of, like, ultra-violence is fine. Ultra-violence is good, clean, wholesome fun. Playing Doom? Yeah, sure, you can do that if you're 14. That's probably not. Yeah, blast some demons to pieces, like, scatter their guts over the ground. Play Call of Duty and, like, play as a black ops soldier, like, clandestinely murdering terrorists in foreign countries who, like, yeah, sure, that's cool. Children can do that. That's fine. But fucking, oh no. No, like, we can't, people experiencing erotic joy in the bodies of others, that is, God, no, that's inappropriate for children. That's evil. That's perverse. And if you so much as think of including, like, visible displays of sexuality somewhere where a child might see it, then you're probably some kind of child abusing pervert or a groomer or, like, fucking whatever. Like, and I'm wondering, again, don't answer the question, I'm wondering to what extent Hazbin Hotel is willing to actually show and incorporate lust, sexuality, perversion into its visual imagery. Because they had that one shot in the first episode, but then since then it's all been just innuendo, which is good. It's fine. Like, I like the innuendo. The innuendo's fun, but, like, come on, like, you gotta at least be willing to show something on the level of, like, the demon stripper from fucking Rick and Morty or whatever. Like, if you can't be visually as perverse as Rick and Morty, then what are you even doing? And I don't like Rick and Morty that much, but, like, that show at least has the balls to like, be sexually perverse in its imagery when it suits its storytelling, whatever the problems for that storytelling might be. Anyway, this should probably start reacting to the fucking thing, right? It's been 6 minutes. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. The way this works, this is a watch-along, which means I can't actually show you the whole episode on screen because Amazon's lawyers will something. Unalive me, I believe is what the kids say. So instead, there's a timer in the top left corner of the screen. I am watching the Amazon Prime version of the thing, which means we get the Amazon Prime intro and all of that. Standard American version. I know there's some version differences from country to country, but we use the timer on screen, and every once in a while during an episode, I'll pause, and you'll get a screenshot of whatever happens to be on screen at the time to sort of tell you where I am and help you synchronize with what I'm looking at. But most of the time, you're going to be looking at this, right? So the timer is essential. Keep an eye on that, synchronize with that, and I will give you a countdown whenever it's time to start or stop the playback. Like, for example, 3, 2, 1, play. Here we go. Dum 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 bum 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 bum. Let's see. Aw, kitty cat. Cute little demons. Do we really need the recap? Three, 2, 1, pause. Okay, so Camilla Carmine is clearly going to be important, but yeah, okay, we're reinforcing the characterization of Pentious from the previous episode. We talked about, like, the egomania that he displays, right? Like, on the one hand, he has this feeling of I'm a piece of shit, I'm worthless, I'm a scoundrel. He has these insecurities that Vox in particular was like preying on, this need to prove himself, but then also that manifests clearly in a deep distrust for other people, like this assumption that everyone must be out to get him because, like, I'm such a piece of shit, I'm so worthless, I am hateful, I'm a bad person, and I suck, and everyone hates me, so therefore they must be out to get me, I must be prepared, right? That seems to be what we're reinforcing here. I mean, I guess we'll see where it goes with that, but that sort of seems to be the direction that it's going with him. That's part of his pathology, is that his apparent megalomania is actually, like, just sort of couching a self-preservation instinct where he believes everyone is out to get him, and so the rational thing is to get them first and show everyone that I'm such a dangerous and powerful demon that no one should fuck with me ever, and then I'll be safe, and when I'm safe I can be happy, right? Seems to be where they're going, but we'll see. 3, 2, 1, unpause. Good expression. Oh, okay. Dear corpse. That little, okay, 3, 2, 1, pause. Just want to call out a lovely little bit of animation flair. Pentious, like, grabbing, what's her name? What's her name? God damn it. I am terrible with names. But the little maid demon with the weird creepy eye. There. The little thing he's about to do with his wrist, like the little swivel, is just, ooh, comedically, that's like, that has just the perfect animation aesthetic for comedy. I really like that. Just look at this. Look. There, like that little. That's good. That's really good. Also, like the squeaky toy thing that she's doing and like his stupid express. Like, this is an example of a very fly swatted pose. I don't know if that's a general term that people use a lot, but that's the term that I was taught, is when a character is posed in a way that's very flat, right? Rather than being like 3-dimensional with like foreshortening and shit going on. But when you pose a character in a way that's very flat, that's called fly swatting. And fly swatted poses are great for comedy. They're great for like hyper stylized silliness, exactly like this. And that little that little swivel with the wrist is just like, it, for me, that just has to. It's just one of the things I like. It's one of the things that when I think about old Tex Avery cartoons. Not Tex, Chuck Jones. Like, I think it was Chuck Jones who did that animation direction. Like, especially on stuff like Roadrunner, he often played a lot with characters being very still, but doing one little movement in a particularly deliberate way that was just funny. That's just funny. Like, often he would do it with eyes, like a character's eyes sort of going gently, looking out at the viewer, sort of breaking the fourth wall a little bit, and then looking back at their interlocutor. But that I think of that like the comedy that comes from establishing a flat tableau that's almost motionless, and then having one little thing move. Just for me, that's so much fun. I love it. Anyway, I just wanted to call that out because that was funny. We are at 3:27. 3, 2, 1, unpause. Vaggie loves Charlie so much. Would you not, said Pentious. Is he ace? Oh, be cool. Oh no, poor Vaggie. Vaggie has trust issues. Charlie trusts her so much. He can't. He okay. 3, 2, 1, pause. There we go. Like, that's Angel again. He's up in front of everyone. He's being asked to share something vulnerable. He can't. Like, no, there's no fucking way in hell, literally no fucking way in hell, that Angel can do that. Because he believes that everything that he feels vulnerable about are things that he believes he will get judged and rejected for immediately. So he can't. Oh, I see. I have thrusting exercises. Very good, Angel. Very good indeed. But what I focus on here, like, it's not so much like Angel obviously can't do trust exercises because he's not in a place where trust and vulnerability are available to him as options in a social situation yet. But Vaggie, huh? See, that's the thing about Vaggie, right? Like, Vaggie clearly loves Charlie deeply and believes in Charlie deeply, believes in what Charlie is doing, and wants very badly for what Charlie is doing to work. But also, she does not trust anyone who isn't Charlie. Like, even a little bit. No, she doesn't. Like, she still has the same, like, she wants Charlie to be right, but she still has these assumptions that, like, everyone else, no one else in the world could ever possibly see Charlie's vision or believe in it as much as Vaggie does, because Vaggie loves her, right? Clearly, Vaggie has this thing of, like, everyone, like, Charlie is pure, she's a cinnamon roll, she is perfect, she's wonderful, I will do everything for her. But because I need to protect her, right? Like, I need to protect her from all of the immoral, dangerous, cruel, heartless pieces of shit out there who can't possibly ever trust them with Charlie's vulnerability. I have to protect her, right? And that is also trust issues. Are we going there? It seems like we're going there, and I'm curious about that. 3, 2, 1, unpause. Nifty! That's her fucking name. That's not vulnerable, my dear. I like her. Oh, I need subtitles for this. So, spider demon. Or another spider demon. Are we a little vulnerable, Alastor? Since thy... okay. 3, 2, 1, pause. That is not correct Old English. Fuck you. Since thy manifested... No, that's not... Okay, I should stress... I did study English at university. I should know this. It's the cases and like whether or not something is fucking... but what I do know is that since thy manifested? No, since you manifested. Like, you is also an ancient English term. Like, it's just used in specific circumstances where thou, thee, and so on have it's used in different cases where, depending on whether it's like addressing someone or whether it's describing it. But I know that thy isn't correct. That's not right. And it's a little thing. This is one of my small, tiny, utterly petty, insignificant, doesn't matter bugbears. But it's when shows will have characters who speak in an old-timey fashion, as though they stood upon the stages of Shakespeare, engaging the audience with their grandeur and wit, like all that shit. When they speak in a sort of semi-Shakespearean way, but they get it wrong. And the problem is, I know instinctually when it's right or wrong, because I've read enough Shakespeare, I've listened to enough like old-timey English to know when it's being used correctly or incorrectly, but I don't know enough theoretical to understand when or why it's wrong, right? I feel that it's wrong in my bones, but I can't explain in grammatical terms why, and I keep meaning to read up on it so I can rant about it and be angry and self-righteous about something getting the old English wrong, but I also keep forgetting to do that. So I can't actually substantiate my annoyance with any kind of hard fact. And that annoys me. I just had to get that out. He's wrong. Wrong. Speaking wrong. Yeah. Fucked. Sorry. I accidentally hit the space bar when I didn't mean to. 3, 2, 1, on pause. Nice detail that the camera has trouble. Demon lore, huh? Are we going to get to know a little bit about these boys? Oh, I see. Ma'am? Hang on. No, wait. Do we get to see more of her? Oh, fuck. She's a sparkle dog. Okay, 3, 2, 1, pause. Right. Okay, so we're getting to see Carmilla, but also, hang on. No, hang on. She's a fucking sparkle dog furry. That rules so hard. Fuck yeah. Oh, that's good. I like that. Good. It's good to see that. That's good. So, is sparkle dog what they call them generally? That's how I've heard them referred to. So there's a certain kind of fursona, a certain genre of fursona or furry character or like anthropomorphic or non-anthropomorphic wolf character that is hyper decorated, just hyper like all of the hair colors, all of the sparkle, all of the fur colors, all of the everything, like all of the decoration you can possibly shove onto them. It's like a whole genre. Especially, it was especially associated with DeviantArt back in the day. I would expect that it's also on Fur Affinity. I didn't see that much of it in the ye olde Tumblr days so much, but it's a style of character design. Like with the Sparkle Dog furries, it's a style of character design which I would say seems to have had an influence on Hazbin Hotel. Like, certainly, going back to the way that the characters were designed in the pilot, they've been obviously simplified and smoothed down a lot for the series, but the character design aesthetic of the pilot, like, among the many, many, many things that influences it, I felt like I saw some of that maximalism, some of that, like, hyper-decorativism that is present in, like, Sparkle Dog furries, was present in, like, the general sensibility of the characters. So I'm just kind of tickled that there's a fucking Sparkle Dog furry. Like, that we actually get, like, a scene hound kind of character. I don't know if she's a furry specifically. She might be a lizard or something. Doesn't matter. That's cool. I like that. That pleases me. That actually pleases me, that, like, hey, we're giving a shout out to the old histories, right? Because, like, it's a style of character design that's, like, when you see people doing, like, oh, this is so cringe, like, a lot of people thought it was very cringe. A lot of people had very many very shitty things to say about characters that were designed in this way. And I will certainly say I have my criticisms of it as a character design style from a storytelling perspective. It's a style of character design that often struggles to tell any kind of coherent story because it doesn't, like, because it overloads itself with so many details that none of them can convey any strong meaning. Like, and often it was a style of character design that valued, like, sparkle, that valued, like, just having lots of shit going on over having any kind of clear storytelling or clear communication going on, right? And that's something that, like, I would say is a problem if you wanted to use it for, like, a movie or a TV show or something. But when you're just making your own fucking OC on the internet, when someone's just making a character, the only point and purpose of your original character, of your own work, is to make you happy, is to express something that you want to express and say it in a way that you enjoy. And if it achieves that, then it is good character design. I'm just going to plant my flag on that one there. If you make a character for yourself and that character makes you happy, or achieves what you want the character design to achieve, it says what you wanted to say, it expresses what you wanted to express, then it is good character design. Full stop, no qualifiers, it is good character design, right? And where it can become, where you can have criticisms of that character design is if you have, like, a Sparkle Dog furry character that is meant to convey a message of simplicity. Let's say that, like, simplicity and minimalism. Those two things are obviously in fucking conflict, right? Like, because Sparkle Dog furries are maximalist, they have all of the detail all over everything. They can't really, as a thing, as a concept, convey minimalism without sort of losing all of the things that make them a Sparkle Dog furry, right? Like, well, maybe that's an interesting design challenge. Hey, any artist out there looking for a design challenge, create a minimalist Sparkle Dog furry. Give it a shot. Like, if you can make that work, I want to see it. Tag me on, well, not Twitter, but Blue Sky and Tumblr. Find me. Because I want to see that. That sounds like a really cool visual idea. But, like, fundamentally, if you make a character like, oh, this character is meant to express emptiness, or meant to express, like, simplicity, or meant to, and then you have a character who's completely overloaded with details that are so dense that none of them convey a single coherent message, yeah, that's a character design problem, right? Like, that's a character design that's not doing a good job of telling the story it's supposed to tell. But again, if you make a character for yourself and that character makes you happy, or it expresses something you want to express, then you have done good character design. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. None of these motherfuckers with their, oh, that's cringe bullshit. Fuck them. Fuck them. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. If it makes you happy, it's good character design. Right? In a commercial context, other standards apply. In like, when it's $1 billion corporation putting out a product for consumption, then yeah, a much higher standard applies. Absolutely. But if it's your personal OC and you're making Sparkle Dog furries because they make you happy, then you are right and they are wrong. Just want to plant my flag on that one. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, unpause. I like her character design also, by the way. Like the big arms, the hands. Oh, Cestial. that annoyed him. Oh, she's changing outfits. Cool. Two, one, interruption. I love the slurping gag. I bethought. Oh, Jesus. You're scared. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Hey! Okay. 3, 2, 1, pause. Interesting use of auto-tune there. There's definitely a bunch of post-processing happening on her voice, and I don't think she needs it. Like, as it's difficult. Like, it's not like I'm a fucking audiophile expert or anything, but it sounds like whoever is voicing this person can definitely sing. Like, they can hit those notes without a problem, but it sounds also like there's an auto-tune or some kind of balancing being used to sort of normalize their voice in a way that sounds like, well, I think the point is to make her vocal performance sound very modern, very radio pop, in contrast to Carmilla's vocal performance, which is more old school, which again goes back to the thing I was warbling on about for, I don't know, 45 minutes in the last episode. Is this thing of like the conflict between old school and new school, like the conflict between tradition and innovation, like how much of that ties into the fundamental question of the show, because obviously Adam and the angels are also not pleased that one of their own has been killed. So that seems to represent like a fundamental peril, a destabilizing factor in the relationship between hell and the heavens. So let's see what happens with that. 3, 2, 1, unpause. Fun way to do the debate. Mother indeed. Not exactly a stealthy creature. Hey, there we go. He's not wrong. Three, two, one, pause. Aha. Okay, cool. Angel isn't wrong. BDSM requires the misconception about it, obviously, is that, oh, you have a sadist and they do mean things to a masochist, and the masochist gets off and the sadist does whatever they want. That, like, what it actually is that you have people who have emotional wants and needs. They negotiate how those emotional wants and needs are going to be met, and then they act out a scene or some kind of interaction that meets those physical and emotional needs in mutual consent. And in a given BDSM relationship, the sub usually holds more power in the scene than the dom, because the dom obviously can also end things the moment they're, but like, if a sub is like safe word, then it's over. Then we're done. Like that, there's no ifs or buts or maybes. That once the safe word comes out, the situation ends. That's part of the negotiation of power, is that the sub always, under all circumstances, always has the power to say stop. Always has control over what's happening ultimately, even in a scene that's about surrendering control, that might be about consensual non-consent or whatever. Like that, and you, in order to have that scene, in order to have a relationship like that work at all, you have to be able to trust, absolutely trust, that your partner will stop when you give the agreed upon signal. Because the moment that your partner doesn't, then it's abuse. That's the risk, right? So Angel isn't wrong that BDSM would be a fantastic trust building exercise. Well, maybe, actually, no, you know what? Maybe not a trust building exercise. Maybe BDSM is the thing you do once you've built the trust to begin with. Maybe you start with something a little lighter. But like, as part of building trust between people, yes, absolutely. It's just that also gets into the thing about like sexual consent and the ways that people relate to their bodies, and not everybody is a sexual creature. But no, that's so that's what we're talking about previous episode, like the visual actual displays of sex and perversion and the ways that these things are going to be employed. Because of course Charlie's conception is that, well, sex is sinful because of a reason. I heard that on a Saturday morning cartoon I watched from the 1950s. Right, that sex is this sinful, evil, ugly, like dangerous, perverse, hedonistic thing, right? And I'm curious to see how the show is going to deploy BDSM in this context, and like deploy sexuality, because it was my impression of Angel generally is that he uses sexuality to get away from vulnerability, as in part as a means to maintain control, and maintain some semblance of power over other people. But it's interesting that like sexual perversion generally seems to be something that's looked down upon still by other demons, even. Okay, 3, 2, 1, unpause. Hey! Hey, no physical contact until consent has been negotiated. No, it's not. Oh no, Vaggie, no. Ah, 3, 2, 1, pause. Right. So remember how I've already been sort of talking about the ways in which, like, particularly like American sensibilities of sex and sexuality are much more comfortable with violence than they are comfortable with sex as a subject. We seem to be diving fucking headfirst into that particular little dichotomy there because Vaggie is like, oh, sex, BDSM. Oh no, we can't. That doesn't work. We can't do that. But hey, you know what? Some good old fashioned ultra violence where like we kill and die in each other's arms. That's the way to build relationships between people, and that's a part. That's one of the parts of military propaganda that's like particularly insidious. Is that like when you see media that incorporates the imagery and like the themes and the ideas of militarism, of like soldiers and like train, like there's always this sense, this focus that like, oh yeah, like going through war is hell. Like obviously war is bad, probably. Yeah, no one likes war, but soldiers, oh my god, soldiers love each other so much. Soldiers, comrades in arms, brothers, oh, they get the relationships they form are so meaningful and good and healthy, and it's how you become a man, it's how you become a person, it's how you actualize yourself as a human being, is not necessarily by being in war and killing people. Well, that's nasty stuff, no one likes that. But hey, like by being a comrade in arms with your fellow soldiers, that's the thing that's going to let you self-actualize. That's how you're going to get meaningful relationships with other men. That's how you're going to feel like, because this is often aimed at men, that's how you're going to feel secure in your masculinity. And Vaggie herself says this is when you boys become men, right? That's how you're going to become secure in your masculinity. That's how you're going to develop like a strong sense of yourself and like come into your worth as a person, is by being a warrior, by being a soldier, by being on the ground and being told what to do and like following orders and like holding your friend's head in your arms as he dies from an IED that was planted by some fucking kid who didn't even know what they were doing, but was just so fucking angry because their father had gotten killed. And like, yeah, like dying in seeing people die in cycles of violence, that'll actualize you as a human being. That'll make you a person, right? And society in general, especially American society, is a lot more comfortable with the idea that especially men are self-actualized through military service to the state, rather than them being self-actualized through, literally any other means, relationships with other people, sex, like romantic exploration, identity exploration. Like, it's a trope, but it's not that fucking uncommon for like AMAP people who are struggling with their gender, with their masculinity, to end up going into the military in pursuit of some kind of secure, safe, healthy masculinity, which they think maybe I can get that from this ultra masculine pursuit, when the thing it turns out that they actually need in order to self-actualize is to transition, right? Like is to be allowed to explore their identity and figure out what gender, what self-expression, what version of themselves actually works. They go looking for this promised version of healthy, secure, trusting masculinity, right? That like comes from being in the military and dying and fighting on the ground and doing violence alongside your comrades, right? So it's interesting that Vaggie is defaulting to that. Like that Vaggie's sort of like, sex, that's uncomfortable somehow. That doesn't feel right. That's dirty. That's filthy. That's disgusting in some way. No one could possibly be into this ever. But violence, yeah, sure, ultra violence. Let's go kill some people. Let's go inflict bodily harm and suffering and pain on other people. That's how we build ourselves and construct ourselves. Is like, yeah, interesting. That's where she would go. That's how she was taught. Hey, gee, I wonder why she has trust issues and why she thinks everyone in the world is out to hurt the ones she care about. Could it be because possibly she was taught how to trust from warfare, where there always is someone who is very much out to hurt you and the ones you care about? Is that why she sees everyone around her as the enemy? Is because that's the only dichotomy she was ever taught, that you have your band of brothers and then the enemy on the other side? Yeah, no, cool. Great. Anyway, let's actually watch what happens. 3, 2, 1, play. No, you're not, Vaggie. You're not supposed to never fail her. You're supposed to do what you can. If I can't help you, what's the point of me? Oh, God, coming for me now? What the fuck are you meaning? How are you coming for me with this? 3, 2, 1, pause. No, 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 no. No. We're not coming for me right now. Fuck you. We're not coming for me. What? My savior complex? My desperate pathological need to make myself useful to other people in order to feel like I matter and I deserve the space that I take up in the world? Fuck you. You're not. Don't you dare come for me. Don't you dare come for my pathology. I didn't. How dare you, Hazbin Hotel? I came here to have a good time, and honestly, I'm feeling so attacked right now. But anyway, yeah, like, again, Vaggie, she feels that the only way she can justify her space in the world is by being useful to the people that she loves, right? And if she can't do that, well, then she doesn't deserve love. Oh, hey, is there a theme here of characters having trouble figuring out how to believe that they deserve better than that what they're getting? My. 3, 2, 1, go. Kingdom Hearts ass character design, Carmilla. My. Vulnerability between archdemons. Contrasting Carmilla with Vaggie. Excellent. Perfect. Very good. Rock ballad. we're straddling a lot of genres with the music in this show. I like that. That was really, that was a very high pitch range for Stephanie Beatrice. Love the distortions of reality that Alastor creates when he's like intense. There must be a therapist in hell. Right? There must be a therapist in hell. Like, I know at least a few therapists that are definitely going to hell. Alistair. Oh, they're gonna tell him. Ding dong! Wait, is he not gonna pick up on it? He's gonna pick up on it. Come on, he must. Because that'll be his in with Vox. No? Okay. I was thought for sure he was gonna present a temptation for him. Like, oh, I'll give this information to Vox, and that'll be how I get back in with him. That's how I'm gonna prove that I'm dangerous. Okay, interesting that he's not. He just doesn't believe that. Which I guess, like, apparently that's the prevailing assumption in hell, is that the angels simply cannot be killed and are an irresistible force. But neither heaven nor hell seem to want anyone to figure out that, yeah, no, these motherfuckers can actually be broken across your knees, like an old 2x4. If you just apply enough force. Okay, all right. I am interested, like, so Carmilla was a thinly sketched character here, I'd say. Like, the introduction of the major demons there, the overlords, I don't think it has had enough time to really establish any of them as characters. Because, like, the song Carmilla sings kind of feels like it needed at least an episode to sort of establish who she is, what her relationship is to her daughters, like, a little bit about her psyche. Like, it feels very, very sudden that the story is asking us to sort of accept a complex emotional interiority for her without giving that interiority any space to breathe, or like exploring her relationship with her children. Like, what might move her to be so desperate that she would kill an angel, right? And like risk all of the whatever. But that it draws the connection through the song with Vaggie, right? Like, that they are acting out of the same fear, right? They are both coming from that same perspective of like my main job as a person, right? As a human being, I was about to say, neither of them are human beings as such, but that their purpose as people is to protect their loved ones, and if they can't do that, then like, what am I even? Like, do I even exist? Do I even have a character or personality? If I can't protect Charlie, what am I worth, right? Like, what do I matter? Um, and that is interesting. Because like that seems to cut to sort of Vaggie's particular pathology, is that like Charlie is her only means to feel that she deserves love, which is like that's not necessarily a healthy relationship dynamic either. It's not great for their relationship if Charlie is literally like, if Vaggie is literally putting all of her eggs in that basket. It's like, if Charlie loves me, then I'm worth something. If I'm useful to Charlie, then I'm good, then I'm worth something. Then how is Vaggie supposed to exist outside of the relationship with Charlie? Because we all need to exist outside of the relationships that we're in. Like, relationships are good. They can be very, very consuming. They can define a lot of who we are as people. But we also need to be capable of existing without them, because all relationships one day end. Like, one of you is going to die first. That's just the like, unless you're both in the same car going over the same cliff, like Thelma and Louise, one of you is going to die first. Like, and statistically, most relationships, you know, they end at some point or another, sometimes very amicably, sometimes very happily, but like at some point you have to be a person that like exists as a whole person without the relationship. So I'm curious about Vaggie's pathology there. Like how deeply emotionally dependent is she on Charlie to be sort of her source of light and hope and belief that she can matter and be worth anything in the world. Because they are devoted to each other. Clearly, they clearly deeply care about each other. But eventually, the stress of being that to Vaggie is gonna cause problems for Charlie. Probably. Again, this is on the assumption that the story. I'm working on the assumption that the story goes the way that these kinds of stories tend to go in fiction, right? That like if we lean on that angle with this, like, because maybe the show never goes there, right? Like, it doesn't have to in order for the story to be good. Maybe the show never goes there. Maybe that's just not what it's really interested in exploring. But like, that's the kind of story where like you could explore like, hey, what kind of stress does it put on Charlie to be Vaggie's only source of light and hope in the world? Like, what kind of stress does it put on her that like her partner can't feel worthwhile unless she's being of service? Because that sort of puts the onus on Charlie to be constantly providing her with opportunities to feel useful so that she can feel happy and secure, which is like, maybe sometimes you just want to chill, right? Maybe sometimes you just want to be together with someone without constantly having to like engineer ways in which they can feel validated. Curious if the show will go there. Don't tell me, because I want to see that for myself, but curious if that's going to be because I figure eventually Charlie and Vaggie are going to have some kind of relationship strain, right? Like, usually in these stories there will be at some point in the show where their relationship is tested by something that like seriously jeopardizes it, and then they'll have to find a way to get past that and like reaffirm the strength of their bond. And I wonder if that's going to be the codependence is going to be the thing that does it. Because that's one of Charlie's pathologies and flaws, right? Is that she's trying to save everyone, and it kind of seems clear to, like we talked about that. It seems clear to me that Charlie is like, well, my worth and value is that I carry on the hope that was left to me by my mother, and if I can't save these souls, if I can't save these people, if I can't make this Hazbin Hotel work, then what's the point of me, right? And so the way that these stories usually go is that at some point she's going to run into a situation where she can't fucking save people. Where, like, all the forgiveness and love in her heart simply just isn't enough, because sometimes it isn't. Sometimes you do run into a situation where you cannot save someone. You can't help them because they don't want to be helped, right? And, like, if Charlie has that crisis of confidence where she stops believing, that's going to have knock-on effects on poor Vaggie, who sort of looks to Charlie for, like, if I can't make her happy, then I'm worthless. And if Charlie is in a situation where she's deeply unhappy about something Vaggie can't fix, maybe Vaggie's going to start spiraling a little bit. And if Charlie and Vaggie are both spiraling, I can't imagine what'll fucking happen to Angel Dust, who kind of relies on both of them a lot emotionally, it seems to me. Seems to me, anyway, that, like, Angel Dust sticks around because he really does genuinely want to like, he has this want of getting that emotional validation, of being thought to be worth something by these two people who seem to have their shit together, right? But if they all of a sudden start not having their shit together, what's that going to do to him? Like, how is he going to feel? now that he has invested some of his emotional center in their stability. So that's the thing I'll say I like about Hazbin Hotel the most so far, is that the emotional interplay between these characters, the things that are wrong with them, is interesting. I think that's the quality that's speaking to me. Fuck, I'm over an hour again. God damn it. I was doing so well. That's the quality of the show so far that speaks to me. It's not so much like the songs are fine. Like, I haven't really felt like there was a banger yet, like a real fucking like something that's gonna get stuck in my head forever. The songs are fine. The animation is decent. Like, it's past. It's at the quality level of decent commercial animation. The art style is cute, but it also, like, it is what it is. It hasn't really shown me any big surprises, any big subversions of expectations yet. But the emotional core of, like, the pathologies of these characters and the ways that they interact with each other, that's the thing, right? Because you can have a character who has a really cool, interesting, fun, like, realistic, well-rendered pathology, but if it doesn't interact with any of the other characters, if it doesn't bounce off of any of the other characters, if what's wrong with me doesn't somehow interact with what's wrong with you, right, then the story doesn't really go anywhere. That doesn't really create any opportunities for good drama. What I like here is that it seems like the writers have constructed, like, a really well-balanced set of fucked up pathologies that can bounce off of each other, like people who can enable each other in really bad ways, but who might also be capable of, like, supporting and pulling each other back from the brink in really interesting ways. And I think that's probably what I'm most interested to see in this show, like how it operationalizes those things. Anyway, I mean, I got it down from an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and 4, so maybe next time I'll go, maybe, like, next time we'll do the speed run. We'll go for a sub 1 hour. Oh my god, why am I like this? Bye.